This is truly devastating. For the record, one might say, oh, well, Hassan, you're a independent broadcaster. You're independently funded by us, the fans. So this doesn't matter. But I have long been an advocate for good media, good mainstream media, because I can't do my job without there being real reporters. Okay? I need there to be real reporters.
Folks, let's go down to Washington, D.C.
Oof, it was loud.
Pretty big headline happening right now.
Absolutely, Brian. We're just hearing from President Trump via Truth Social that he is firing the Commissioner of Labor Statistics. He says effective immediately. This, of course, coming after the jobs report this morning showed lower than expected job growth for the previous month, as well as major downward revisions for the past two. So the president focusing on those revisions in particular in this Truth Social post, saying he's firing Dr. Erica McIntyre for the Commissioner of Labor Statistics because she was a Biden appointee. She was appointed to her job in January 2024. He says this is the same Bureau of Labor Statistics that overstated the jobs growth in March 2024 by approximately 818,000, and then again right before the 2024 presidential election. He says these were records. No one can be that wrong. We need accurate jobs numbers. Goes on to say, I have directed my team to fire this Biden political appointee immediately. She will be replaced with someone much more competent and qualified.
That's some China shit. Numbers are not looking good. Let's not publish the numbers anymore. That's so funny to think that that's China shit, especially when China is on the exact opposite trajectory, all things considered. Like, no, dude, I don't think that works anymore. No, it's happening in America. It's not happening in China. That's not China. I wish we had China shit going on here. Okay? What do you mean? I wish we had China shit going on. I wish we had a command economy and central planning and a robust industrial manufacturing base and jobs and consistent building, rapid urbanization, a network of high-speed rail and public transit that's readily available and very affordable. No inflation crisis whatsoever. That's China shit. It's so funny because, like, I think, like, one of my biggest points of vindication beyond people finally coming to the conclusions I arrived at a long time ago on Israel has been China. More and more younger people that aren't as readily hopping on like the America is good and all the enemies are bad, the attitude, are because there's nothing to look forward to being in America. They're seeing all the cool stuff China's doing and they go, oh my God, maybe China's not so bad. They're not talking about the Chinese economy. I think they're referring to the tendency of the Chinese government to shut down publishing data when it's not very positive. For instance, the youth unemployment rate, sure. But once again, all things considered, they are doing much better than we are, and we're doing it here.
Important numbers like these must be fair and accurate. They can't be manipulated for political purposes. He says much more about McIntyre and about the revisions that we saw this morning, Brian, and towards the end of this very long post, he goes on to say, Jerome, quote, too late Powell should also be put out to pasture. Turning to those strong words for Jerome Powell here, Brian, but I want to emphasize a major move here.
Also, this is quite literally America shit from Trump 1 too. COVID testing. Numbers look terrible. We need to stop testing for COVID was literally the Trump 1 attitude on COVID, which is hilarious because they did not do that in China. They did the exact opposite in China. They were heavy-handed with their zero COVID policies for sure, and it created a tremendous resentment. People literally started rebelling against the state, and then they stopped it. But like, that was again Trump 1 as well as Trump 2. He's just doing it for everything else now. It's great, man. It's awesome. Fantastic stuff. We are doing so good. I love it.
By the president. Those jobs numbers that come out every month, yes, they are subject to revisions. These are larger than normal revisions that we saw this morning. That's part of what you've seen the market reacting to.
Day in Trump's economy. Wake up, check the news. BLS, 10 billion new jobs created. Check my phone to see what today's tariff rates are. Norway up 20%. Cambodia down 5%. Go to my iPhone assembly line job where I make $7.25 an hour. Spend the next 4 hours putting chips inside of phones. Take 15-minute break. Check my shit fart Pisscoin holdings. Rugged. Watch the FOMC meeting. FOMC is just Trump. Trump goes on stage and announces he's raising rates from minus 10% to minus 5%. Also announces date of Jay Powell's public execution. Everyone to thunderous applause. Jerome Powell, really bad guy. We're killing him. We're killing him dead with a AI manager scolds me for taking 60 minutes on my 15-minute break. It's only been 12 minutes. Call employee helpline to complain. It's also AI. Go home frustrated. Complain to my girlfriend about my job. She's also AI. Everything's computer. Everything's computer. Even girlfriend is computer. Manager's computer. Girlfriend is computer. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Just wait. Just wait. Everything is great. If you don't think things are great, don't worry. We got Palantir. Your identity numbers are all over. We are tapping in directly to your personal messaging on social media to make sure that there is no discontent. When we find out there is discontent, don't worry. Computer will come for you. And to make sure you no longer say you don't like it. It's great. Yeah, the guys for all the you will eat the bugs, you will live in a pod, you will be happy fear mongering on the right. They've been awfully quiet about all this from Trump. Yeah, no, turns out all you needed to do to make them feel a little bit better was like, no, we're just making the Mexicans eat the bugs and live in the pods. That's all you need to do. You just need to say Mexican. And everybody goes, oh, okay. Oh, it's not happening to me? All right, got it. Cool. It is much harder to deify the president if every establishing shot of the White House subjects you to the goofiest building on earth. Wait, what? This is what they're doing to the White House? I hope it looks exactly like this and we spend the next 200 years getting repeatedly dunked on for this gilded garage extension looking monstrosity. What is this? What the fuck is this? Oh my God, this is literally Erdogan. Oh my God, he is Erdogan. Oh my God, the Turkification is so complete. We keep talking, but this is some Erdogan-ass bullshit right here, bro. This is straightforwardly the most Erdogan thing he's done. Oh, everything is... Oh, is there a cost of living crisis that I ran on fixing and then did not fix? Well, guess what, dude? We're building a palace. Sick, man. We're building an ugly-ass palace. The new Rose Garden is finished. Oh my God. Oh, dude. Oh, I mean, look, we kind of deserve it. Don't you think? Don't you think we kind of deserve it? A little bit, like just grotesque, tasteless people just destroying what remains of like American cultural output piece by piece. Like, this is, God, I think it's lame to say, oh, this is idiocracy, but this literally is idiocracy. It's hard to say it's not. This is going to be like, what, sponsored by Crypto.com and shit too, I assume, you know? Sponsored by Palantir and Crypto.com. Sponsored by Trump Coin. The Dorito Steak.com ballroom is brought to you by Fartcoin. It's the greatest coin powered by farts. Okay. Blue Chew Ballroom makes you light up. He said he will name the donors. President Trump speaking to... Oh, Jesus Christ, that was loud. President Trump speaking to reporters just now committed to releasing the names of the donors who helped pay for his $200 million White House ballroom, but he said he might ultimately cover the entire cost himself. With what money? Oh, I guess like one of... Nah, there's no way he's going to do that.
Are you going to publicize the names of the donors?
It's not that much money. Will you release the names?
Are you going to
Yeah, I'll do
Great camera work from this guy, by the way.
I didn't even start yet, by the way. But when I do, I'll release. How many donors do you think it's going to take to get the 200 million? Maybe one, me.
The ballroom building pic is AI, but the real render isn't any better. It's not right on the side of the building, but yeah, they wanted to slap this massive brick right next to the White House. Very post-glorious revolution, noble, slapping modern pleasure palaces on the sides of older two-door buildings coated. Hampton Court here. Connor Banger on the White House. Stupid. It's an extension. Why are you complaining? We're making the White House even bigger. Oh, yeah, by the way, speaking of NPR, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting is shutting down following loss of federal funding. I don't know if they'll like completely gut. I don't know how this works for NPR and PBS. But yeah, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting announced today that it will begin an orderly wind down of its operations following the passage of a federal rescissions package and the release of the Senate Appropriations Committee's fiscal year 2026 Labor, Health, and Human Services, Education, and Related Agencies Labor Appropriations Bill, which excludes funding for the CBP for the first time in more than 5 decades. For nearly 60 years, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting has carried out its congressional mission to build and sustain a trusted public media system that informs, educates, and serves communities across the country. Through partnerships with local stations and producers, CBP has supported educational content. Well, why do you need this? Why do you even need local publicly funded broadcasters when you can just like have AI make up whatever is going on? You know what I mean? Don't worry. Don't worry. AI will just make shit up. It will just hallucinate an alternative vision that is reflective of Trump's goals and what Trump wants you to feel like is going on, you know? This is devastating. This is truly devastating. For the record, one might say, oh, well, Hassan, you're an independent broadcaster. You're independently funded by us, the fans, so this doesn't matter. But I have long been an advocate for good media, good mainstream media, because I can't do my job without there being real reporters. Okay? I need there to be real reporters. There is nothing to do. There is nothing to add media literacy to if there is no media to begin with. I guess the alternative to this is that like NPR will become and PBS will become more independent because it will be just like entirely funded by donors. It'll turn into like a Democracy Now! Style situation, potentially. I mean, that is the best possible outcome. But it is nuts. That's the most hopeful outcome. But I don't know how that works with like the current ongoing cost of living crisis. You missed this part of the story? Oh, this is the inside of the ballroom? Thank God we have money in the bank for this stuff, though. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, that's far better. That's important to do, I think.
All day, but when it's and the jobs numbers in particular, the independence of these agencies and the accuracy of the numbers has always been paramount. So accusing these agencies of politically manipulating the numbers is a major step here. A little bit of background on McIntyre. Yes, she was appointed to this position by President Biden in January 2024, but she's also a labor economist who served over 20 years in the federal government. She's held positions at the U.S. Census Bureau, the Executive Office of the President, and the Department of Treasury as well. So not someone who was just put in there at the end of Biden's term that was a stranger to government, more than 20 years in government. Brian, now the president saying he's firing her effective immediately.
We have a major escalation in President Trump's trade war. Last night, he announced new tariffs on dozens of countries around the world starting on August 7th at rates up to 50%. It's uncharted territory for the global economy, and economists say it could mean you'll pay more for all kinds of goods in the future. Nancy Cordes is at the White House with the latest. Nancy, good morning. What's going on?
Well, what's going on, Nate, is this is the day that the president has been promising for months, and here is the list he has just released. In many cases, these tariff rates are not quite as high as the ones that he first threatened to impose back in April, but they are still the most aggressive tariffs the U.S. has imposed by far since the 1930s. And U.S. companies will only have 7 days to prepare before the new rates take effect.
This is making our country very rich and respected again.
The president's new tariffs will soon apply to goods from all of America's largest trading partners.
a 20% tax on Taiwan, 50% for Brazil, and 15% for Japan, one of 6 countries that cut deals in advance. In a new executive order, President Trump said he has to hike rates because America's global trade deficit poses, quote, an unusual and extraordinary threat to national security. Democrats called it chaos.
This is a deal, all right. It's a raw deal for the American people.
Trump is even hiking his existing tariffs on some Canadian products from 25% to 35%.
They've been treating our farmers very badly. They've been treating our country very badly for years.
The new rates will likely bring in more money for the U.S. government, collected at ports of entry by U.S. Customs. But it could also make goods more expensive. Already, U.S. inflation is creeping up after Trump imposed 10% tariffs in May. Furniture, appliances, and computers all cost more.
We now have a 25% tariff on this product that we didn't have a week ago.
Barton O'Brien owns Baydog, a pet gear company based on Kent Island, Maryland, with a staff of 7. He makes his products in China, Vietnam, and in...
I told you, this was another lock early on. Even from before the election, I told you, when Trump comes in and he says he's going to put these tariffs in place, he is going to hurt the small business owners that voted for him. Okay? Because all of these, like America is propped up by these small business owners that have like a couple people that they've hired that rely almost entirely on drop shipping, basically. Like getting their products from China and then selling it with a markup to Americans. The funniest version of this, of course, is the MAGA stores. But yeah, I said this to Bradley Martin months ago. Yep. Dude, that conversation is so crazy. Look back at that conversation that I had with Bradley Martin about every single thing that I said that was going to happen with Donald Trump. Every single thing has happened. Literally every single thing that I said was going to happen with Donald Trump has happened. Like 100%. And it's not even, I mean, just like every single thing that I said was going to happen with the election and all of the failures that I pointed out with Kamala Harris and her campaign also unfolded fairly quickly in real time. Great stuff.
Yeah, and sells them in 2,000 stores here in the U.S.
The only way for us to survive as a business is to raise prices and probably cut expenses, which means firing people. So tariffs are going to hit small businesses first, and they're going to hit small businesses hardest, and they're going to put a lot of us out of business.
Now, the White House argues that the tariffs are going to incentivize companies like his to move production to the U.S. where there's no tariff. But O'Brien told us that that would cost so much more that he'd have to hike the price of, say, his best-selling harness from $30 now to $150. In other words, Vlad, no one would buy it.
All right, Nancy Cordes for us this morning at the White House. Thank you, Nancy. More on how these tariffs could impact you. We're joined by our senior business and technology correspondent, Jolene Kent, here in studio. Jolene, good to see you.
Good to see you, too. Good morning,
everybody.
everybody.
All right. Good morning. So we've talked a lot on this show about how these tariffs will mean higher prices. You just heard Nancy's tag there. We will be absorbing these costs.
Cutie really picked the worst time to start a business. This is kind of true, especially one that relies on like almost entirely Chinese-made goods, like with virtually no market substitute here in the United States of America. Because her entire business is like imported goods. But like, I don't think there's anything that she could purchase that has a market substitute anyway. Like, do we even make those little trinkets here in America? I don't think so. Like, what could she source? What could she source from the United States of America? I can make them. All right, dude. Yeah. She needs to make them. She needs to make the little trinkets homegrown and sourced with local labor. So instead of like little labubus and stuff, you're going to have bullets, different kinds of bullets made in an American factory. That's the only thing that's like size equivalent. Bullets and soybeans. La bullpup. La bullet.
The question I have is, what kinds of products are going to be hit the hardest?
Well, we're already seeing, if you think about what's coming from Canada, we import so much lumber from Canada. So we could see lumber prices go up, which could make housing more expensive. You think about that 50% import tax on Brazil, for example. Coffee could get more expensive. Clothing. We're already seeing furniture prices tick up, as well as computers and appliances as well.
How quickly will customers notice the difference in prices?
Okay, so it's all about the dates. So we know that the Canada new import taxes have already gone into effect. So that's happening now. That could hit companies.
Yeah, with coffee, there's like not really much you can do about that either. That's another one that's just like kind of region cucked. You know what I mean? Like, what do? You're just straightforwardly region cucked.
Consumers very soon. But then for all of the other countries that Nancy was talking about here, we know that they have until August 7th to get their orders in. And if their stuff arrives before October 5th, then they can avoid these new higher levies.
Okay.
But we know these businesses, they tell us it takes a long time to get stuff into the U.S.
That's
Making
true.
that October deadline, that's a tight turnaround.
There's so many deadlines to keep track of, but how is this impacting the markets for people who invest 401ks?
Yeah, so we're taking a look right now. Dow futures are down about 1%, same with S&P 500. And looking at the global markets, we saw Japan and Europe pulling back very slightly. But what this really means, small businesses are really the driver of our economy. They're already struggling to make payroll, to get their orders in, to afford the stuff that you and I want to be buying. And I've talked to a couple of business owners overnight, and they say this uncertainty has...
U.S. is not becoming a 100% small business economy. No, it's even worse than that. The only small business you can do is crypto pimp, okay? That's it. Like, t-shirt salesman, influencer, cryptocurrency peddler. That's it. That's it. That's the entire nation. An entire nation of multi-level marketing schemes, Ponzi schemes, that get increasingly stupider as well. Nope, dropshippers are gone. We can't do dropshipping anymore. Trump effectively killed that. You can't even do dropshipping. Dropshipper looks like an honest job as opposed to like cryptocurrency. You're become like, what do you mean? You got rug pull merchant versus dropshipper. Dropshipper literally looks like a real job in comparison. Oh, what do? Oh, I just like peddle shitcoin, with the hopes that like the guy next to me, the guy after me is going to be stupid enough to buy it, thinking that he can go over the next person. Nothing, just nothing else.
It's just heightened. And they're looking at the holiday season thinking, oh my gosh, what about what I'm going to be able to sell? Can I stay open?
So one of the things that I'm really curious about is how this fluctuation in tariff policy has affected consumer sentiment. We've already seen numbers in Las Vegas. People aren't going to Vegas in the way that they had in years past. That is a leading indicator of how people feel about the economy.
And the other side of that is Procter & Gamble, for example, the maker of Tide and Bounty, household products. They say these tariffs are going to force them to raise prices. That's coming from the CEO, one of the biggest companies. So if that's how Procter & Gamble is feeling, imagine what you might be paying at, you know, your big box store when you think what you're paying on Amazon.
Yeah.
And those are staples, right? The laundry detergent and the paper towels.
I need those paper towels.
No, big time.
I got a lot of
big
kids.
time. So many paper towels. Jolene Kent, thank you so much.
So this just in, automaker Ford's profits have been entirely wiped out.
Is this media? Oh, Midas Touch. Yes. Yes. My goats. Oh, hell yeah. Let me look at their numbers. They're cooking, dude. They're so good.
Donald Trump wrapped up a disaster.
Oh, Jesus. That's loud. They are so good. Oh, my God. 2 hours ago, 300,000. They're doing Asmongold numbers, bro. They're doing Asmongold numbers. Oh, man. This gives me a little bit of happiness. I know that they're libs. They'll never touch like Israel and stuff. You know what I mean? And they're obviously going to actively work to farm as many like boring, shitty Democrats, middle of the road Democrats as they possibly can. But at least like someone is combating the major moves that the right is doing online. Don't you feel happy that Midas Touch is doing good? Look, I've been an early defender of Midas Touch. Wait. They did talk about Israel. World turns against Netanyahu over Gaza crimes. Didn't do that well though with the audience. Now did it? It's okay though. Even they're talking about Israel too now. Netanyahu's on the thumbnail right there. What do you mean? I've never heard of these guys. BTC is farming Trump too. Yeah, Brian Tyler Cohen is another guy that's been like actively farming Trump. 400K, 5-alarm fire, Bondi pulls bombshell stunt ahead of midterms. Trump caught with brutal Epstein question 22 hours ago, 700,000 views. This gives me a little bit of hope. I know Brian Tyler Cohen also is like, he is again noticeably absent from the conversation when it comes to Israel, which is really annoying. But you know, you take what you can get at that point, as long as they're not like standing in opposition. As long as they're not standing in opposition against those who speak out against Israel's crimes, you know, it is what it is. He did say something on the Chris Cuomo show recently that really pissed me off. I saw where he was like, what hope? These liberals hate Trump and you. No, that's not true. I don't think Midas Touch hates me at all. I don't even think Brian Tyler Cohen hates me, really. Yeah, I've been on. Some do. I don't know percentage. Yeah, I did a spot on Midas Touch at the DNC. Now, this isn't, you need to understand something. This doesn't mean that these guys are on board, okay? I'm just saying that, like, with the wave of psychopathic far-right commentary, Tim Miller definitely does not like you. I mean, Cam says he does, so I don't know. They don't hate you. They're just out of touch with the working class and disgust me in general. I think younger libs are much more open to you than older libs tend to be. I mean, yeah, they're lying to grift your audience. What? Yeah, here it is. You found
Bush era liberalism. Midas Touch carries that energy with it, and I really respect it. Like, I mean, obviously there's disagreements that I have sometimes, but overall, I'm a big fan because they love smoking Republicans, and I love that energy.
Absolutely. So what are you doing here at the DNC? I feel like you're generally a little bit farther left than the average liberal. So are you here to represent?
Yeah. I'm here to scope out the scene, check it out. I have a pretty young audience that's like unfamiliar with the back end of like DNC and how this machine works in general. So I thought it would be cool to see that. I also am like very nerdy about news outlets in general and news media in general, political news. I watch it a whole lot. If you've ever watched my streams, like that's all I do is just watch all these different news outlets. So seeing them in action, seeing the sausage get made, it's just, you know, it's a fun, exciting experience for me.
Do you fan out when like Caitlin Collins walks past, or are you just like freaking out?
No. I fan out when I see Epoch Times.
Yeah?
That's like
C-SPAN, you're like, yo, that's C-SPAN.
No, it's not even that. It's more so like weird news channels like NTD, Epoch Times. I'm like, those are like weird channels that I watch on a regular basis, and they're here.
Absolutely. So
I don't care about like CNN or whatever.
So I'm 21 years old. I have a younger audience. Can you explain what is at stake this election? If Donald Trump wins, what is at stake for younger people? Because you and I might disagree on some stuff politically, but I think we can both band together to defeat Donald Trump.
I mean, if Donald Trump wins, it's probably going to look exactly like it did 2016 to 2020, if not worse this time around. I don't want Donald Trump to win. I don't know what he would do at this point. I feel like I legitimately don't know what Donald Trump might do at this point, because like 2016 he was like, Mexicans are rapists, they're coming over the border, they got drugs, and then he would at least say, and some are very fine people, I assume, right? Like that was the tail end of that. Now he's just like, Guatemalans are coming to do rape against white daughters. Like 12 million migrants, we are immediately deporting them. Like he's greatly amped up the dangerous rhetoric surrounding immigration in this country, surrounding immigrants in this country. There's 15 million of them on U.S. soil. They're everywhere, all around us. They're just like you and I am genuinely terrified of what like the Republicans will inevitably end up doing in terms of their handling of like the undocumented migrants that are living here.
It's like, how do you deport 11 million people without crashing the economy, having violence, or accidentally deporting American citizens? And something I'm worried about with Donald Trump is that if he gets a second term, he doesn't learn from his mistakes much, but I think he'd learn from appointing people like Mike Pence, and he would make sure he only has loyalists around him. People who would make sure, like J.D. Vance, for example, has said that he would not have certified the results in the same way that Mike Pence did.
Yeah, he has more sycophants around him. But like, listen, of course question that you ask is actually the right question, which is how do you deport migrants? How do you deport 15 million people living on U.S. soil without an unimaginable amount of violence? You can't. It's concentration camps. It's Hitlerian policy. It's completely unacceptable. And not only that, but also, you just mentioned like American citizens being deported, right? That happened already. It happened with the Bracero program. It happened with Operation, I won't say the name of the operation. It's just the anti-Mexican slur, anti-Latino slur. And Donald Trump routinely brings up that policy. The mass deportation of Mexicans and, hey, what's good? And including American citizens of Mexican descent. 1.3 million of them were deported in this country. And Donald Trump talks about that every rally. He talks about that shit like it was awesome. And he keeps saying it, and he keeps saying he's going to do that. And it blows my mind that there aren't more news media professionals out there or more politicians out there being like, you want to deport 12 million people? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's insane. That is literally like Holocaust-level cruelty.
This has been Adam Mockler with Hassan Piker at the 2024 DNC. Where can people find you? You're probably bigger than us, so.
Twitch.tv/Hassanabi.
Awesome, nice. And just in case you want to link up more, I live in Chicago.
Remind people you are live at Midas and Adam Mockler on YouTube.
We are live at Midas Touch on YouTube. And Adam, thanks for reading that out. That's supposed to be covered. Here, take my card. Just so you want to. I live in Chicago, so we can link up.
Thank you.
See you.
Nice to meet you guys.
Was this pre or post most lethal military? No, pre. This was like, I think this is day one. You can literally watch me become more and more resentful and angry as by day 3, I was out. I was like, this is so bad. Every single day that passed, my hope and optimism went away. Did you know you had a crystal ball? Yeah. It's so funny because, like, I'm willing to work with Democrats all the time. And all of my biggest naysayers are constantly trying to present me as this, like, massive radical. And it's like, no, dude, just listen to what I am saying, please. Instead of listening to, just listen to the warnings that I am delivering. Instead of just assuming that I have, like, some nefarious purpose in mind that's somehow going to be bad for everybody. Jesus Christ. I remember the couple of months before the DNC, I feel like we all had a lot of hope and they do things in the right this time. No, my attitude shifted immediately after the DNC. Your main YouTube channel should take notes from MT, Brian Tyler Cohen, and Kyle Kalinske. It's performing bad lately. That AI bot channel, Hassanabi Archive, is taking all the views. It's a shame that it's thriving and it has more views than your main. I don't think you're right about that. We've been posting a lot more videos on the main channel, and the main YouTube channel has gotten more views, more monthly views overall than it ever has before. But you're right about the archive bot channels. They are a burden for sure. Anyway, let's get back to Midas Touch.
By tariffs. Ford just reported $1 million last quarter, compared with $1.8 billion in net income just 1 year ago, after they were hit by more than $800 million from Trump's tariffs. This is despite the fact that Ford manufactures most of its vehicles in the United States, because the company relies on parts imported from outside of the country. Plus, they were also hit hard by the new Trump taxes on steel and aluminum. The company said that tariffs are expected to cut about $2 billion from its annual earnings. Executives say that they are pressing the Trump administration to lower taxes on parts and materials that they need to survive. We're going to keep on following all the news, so spread the word, follow along, and add the Midas Touch podcast for more.
President Trump demanding that major drug makers lower the prices that they charge Americans in the next 60 days. In a series of letters sent yesterday, the president told companies to offer the full portfolio of their drugs to Medicaid patients at the same prices paid abroad. This is what's known as most favored nation rule. Trump also told drug makers to guarantee that Medicare, Medicaid, and private insurance patients get the same lower overseas prices for all newly approved medicines, and he demanded companies create a direct-to-consumer option for certain drugs. The efforts are likely to be met, obviously, with fierce pushback from the pharma industry. Experts say it's also unclear whether the president has the authority to force drug makers to lower their prices without the help of Congress. We're going to talk more about this next hour with former FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb. And I don't know what the answer is, but we're importing price controls. I guess once the price controls were being levied in Europe is when I guess pharmaceutical makers should have taken a stand probably back then. Once it happens over there, you can see why the president says, why should they, their citizens get these prices when ours are paying 10 times as much? But so fine, for the drugs that have already been developed, maybe we're able to keep those. But long term, you see about innovation for drugs over in Europe, there's been almost none. And that's why they want, and defense and research and development. People want Europe and overseas to step up to the plate because it's really harmed innovation. Is that going to happen here on the future drugs? Why wouldn't it happen here? So this could be the unintended.
I haven't seen these guys get this sad and this scared since the Zohran Mamdani victory. That's so funny. I don't understand what's going on. Why is this happening? This is not supposed to happen. What about the innovation? I don't mind President Trump demanding drug makers slash prices within 60 days. This is actually goated.
Consequence of this could be that we don't have innovation anymore in this country and price controls.
I like that the one good thing, which I'm sure he will never follow up on, is still seen as like a major negative here.
Never work, and I don't see how do you look at this as anything other than price control?
No. No, but look, there's a fairness argument.
This is price control. What is happening?
What I mean, and it's a populist argument. But we should.
But I'm with you. I worry.
We should have when it started happening over there, and it's been happening for years, where people get drugs for a tenth of the price. Why?
Right.
They didn't even develop them over there.
It's one thing with countries that are not as developed as us, but when we're talking about developed nations where they can and should be able to afford prices, that's
what should the drug companies have said to like the EU when they were,
I don't know,
passing
laws
the price control?
Right.
I don't know, but now that horse has left the barn, the toothpaste has left the tube. Humpty Dumpty has already fallen off the wall. You've already made an omelet. You've already cracked the egg. Toothpaste? Did I say toothpaste?
You've already done it.
I did that one.
Did Genie's already out of the bottle? Did I do that one?
I don't know, but I think there's some earnings that are coming.
Yo, this is amazing. All right, let's hear what kind of questions he took here. I got to pee again. Hold on.
Before the election, the same kind of thing happened. And I think you'll see some very interesting information come out. But you have to have honest reports. And when you look at those numbers, or when you look at just before the election, and then after the election, they corrected it by 800,000 or 900,000 jobs, I would say. We have a great relationship. Yeah, we have a great relationship with South Korea.
Are you open to negotiate with Brazil? The Brazilian President Lula said he'd like to call you. He requested a conversation. Would you talk to him now?
He can talk to me anytime he wants.
So are you open to tariffs?
Yeah, he can talk to me anytime he wants.
What is on the table for Brazil?
Well, we'll see what happens. But I love the people of Brazil.
What evidence do you have?
Why you saying the two I love the people of Brazil.
So why
two Marines close to Russia? Because the people running Brazil did the wrong thing.
What evidence was made?
7 years. 7 years. From the time that you learned that people were being stolen from Mar-a-Lago to the time that you picked up and rejecting Epstein. Yeah, I don't understand your question.
What's going on recently? I'm seeing a lot of annoying institution defending liberals in your comments being annoying. I don't know what you're talking about. Where?
Say it? There have been deployed nuclear submarines. Oh, yeah. Well, we had to do that.
I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but the entire plan for this announcement is botched and screwed all over it. He put out a bullshit attempt to fix his own undoing of Medicaid, botching of trade deals, and failed Canadian drug import plan. He's doing all but Medicare for all and under any other name. No, I know. That's why I said, like, he's not going to follow through on it. He's going to pick it up somehow. Do not make no mistake. Under no circumstances will Trump ever do anything right by regular Americans, okay? He'll find a way to pick it up.
We just have to be careful. And a threat was made, and we didn't think it was appropriate, so I have to be very careful. So
is this audio better?
Where are the submarines being deployed? The nuclear submarines?
Say it?
Where are being deployed the nuclear submarines?
Oh, yeah. Well, we had to do that. We just have to be careful. Threat was made, and we didn't think it was appropriate, so I have to be very careful. So I do that on the basis of safety for our people. A threat was made by a former president of Russia, and we're going to protect our people.
President Trump, will Hillary Clinton finally be investigated for election fraud?
I hope so. I hope so. I don't know whether or not that'll happen, but I hope so.
Mr. President, why did you fire the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics?
Because I think her numbers were wrong. Just like I thought her numbers were wrong before the election. Days before the election, she came out with these beautiful numbers for Kamala. I guess Biden/Kamala. And she came out with these beautiful numbers trying to get somebody else elected. Then right after the election, I think on the 15th, November 15th.
So she pumped your numbers too. I don't understand. Like, she did the same thing that she did to Kamala.
She had an $800,000 or $900,000 massive reduction. Said she made a mistake. No, that woman's numbers are.
Evidence that she faked?
Say it. Yeah, one of the governors, as you know, of the Federal Reserve has just announced she's resigning. I understand it was over the fact that she disagreed with somebody from her party. She disagreed with Tulate. You know who Tulate is? Yeah. She disagreed with Tulate on the interest rate. So we'll see what happens. But we just found out that I have a open spot on the Federal Reserve Board. I'm very happy about that, John.
And what did Medvedev say to you that made you really mad?
Well, you just have to read what he said. He was talking about nuclear. When you talk about nuclear, we have to be prepared, and we're totally prepared.
Mr. President, on the monthly jobs report, going forward, why should anyone trust the numbers?
Well, that's the big thing. You're right. No, you're right. Why should anybody trust numbers? You go back to election day. Look what happened 2 or 3 days before with massive, wonderful job numbers, trying to get him elected or her elected, trying to get whoever the hell was running. Because you go back, and they came out with numbers that were very favorable to Kamala, okay, to trying to get him elected, trying to get her elected. And then on the 15th of November or thereabouts, they had an 800,000 or 900,000 overstatement reduction right after the election. It didn't work because you know who won, John? I won.
But here's the thing. Your supporters have had issues with these numbers.
I've had issues with the numbers for a long time. But today's, we're doing so well. I believe the numbers were phony, just like they were before the election. And there were other times. So you know what I did? I fired her.
Right.
And you know what? I did the right thing.
If any government official going forward is presenting data or information you don't like, should they fear for their job?
I've always had a problem with these numbers. You know, I was thinking about it this morning. Before the numbers that came out, I said, who is the person that does these numbers? And then they gave me stats about before the election. I had a similar problem. I mean, she gave out numbers that were so good for the Democrats. It was like unbelievable. And then right after the election, she corrected those numbers with, I think, almost 900,000 corrections. I think nobody had ever seen anything like it. Well, today she did the same thing with the 253,000, whatever the number was. No, we need people that we can trust. I mean, your question is a very good one. We need people we can trust.
What about Switzerland? What would you like to see from Switzerland?
You know who you plan to replace her with?
I've got about 3 very good, I have a lot of good candidates. I will say everybody wants it. I've had more phone calls, but I have 3 people that are.
Do you have a background in labor statistics?
You know, I could do a long-term thing or I could do a temporary. It's a 14-year term.
Right, but do you put someone in who actually has labor statistics experience?
I put somebody in who's going to be honest. That's all we want. I have a choice. I can have 4 months. I can do a short term, or I can do a 14-year deal. So we'll see. We have a lot of people. We've got a lot of good people around.
Can I ask you a construction question?
That was a shock. The tariff rate with Switzerland. It was higher than other European
Well, the problem with Switzerland, we have a $40 billion deficit with Switzerland, and I spoke yesterday to Switzerland, but we have a $40 billion deficit with Switzerland. That's a big deficit.
Question on the construction. Can I ask you a question on the construction? You say you're raising $200 million. You're donating a bunch. Others are as well. Are you blocking foreigners from donating money to build that addition?
Honestly, I never even thought of it, but it doesn't matter. I'm putting up my money, but it doesn't even matter. They've wanted a ballroom at the White House, and it's been very popular. You know, when we put it out yesterday.
You're not ruling out that a crown prince or some European
I'm not looking for that. You know, you have very strong restrictions as to who can donate, and we go by the restrictions. It's not a lot of. I mean, it's not that much money. It's money. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, we've seen some of this already.